the return of Jager's ACOG and Blackbeard's rifle shield with the year 10 anniversary event, an update/overhaul to dual front, and more emphasis on lore with events such as Assault on Hereford, plus a bunch more information. So we are exactly a week away from the reveal of year 10 season 4, which is going to be on the 16th of November at the Munich Major. However, I have a little bit of a different news update today, which isn't necessarily focusing on year 10 season 4, but rather Rainbow Six Siege as a whole. As recently, Gamescom Asia hosted the Thailand Game Show, where Rainbow Six Siege's creative director, Alexander Krapazis, attended. And we have some information about what he said during a Q&A seminar regarding Rainbow Six Siege and its future. Now, I want to massively thank Kay, who is a Rainbow Six Siege player from Thailand, who has gathered all the information from the interviews that Alex did with Thai media, translating it to English for us to understand. And this was shared fully in a Reddit post, which we're now going to look through together, as there is a lot of important information in here. Again, worth noting, some translations may not be 100% here, so don't take everything which is being said as verbatim. But the first one here is regarding the anti-cheat and shield guard. And it says, updating shield guard to stay one step ahead of cheaters is the Siege dev team's top priority. But of course, at this point, the system still needs improvement. They are now developing a new anti-cheat method as well. So slightly vague there, but we've always been hearing about anti-cheat. Whether or not you believe that the Siege team is doing the most they can, that's up for you to decide. I do think it's in their best interest, and I do think the people working on it do care. I feel like just as an overall issue though, and not just with Ubisoft, but as like gaming companies in general, I just feel like anti-cheat doesn't get the amount of resources or love from any of these gaming companies that it should. I do believe that the Siege team are trying their hardest, and it is definitely an industry-wide issue, so they can try their best to just continue these efforts and double or even triple down. Then that is of course what we need. And I guess I just don't really like talking about anti-cheat that much because I don't really have that much to input. I don't understand how an anti-cheat works. I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z, so there's not really much for me to say on how they can improve. I can always just sit at the sidelines and say, I just think this still needs to be better. And obviously, I think it's in their best interest. Like, if there's less cheaters and there's more people content and happier, then you're more likely to spend money, which increases revenue. So, I do think they care. That doesn't, there's no doubt in my mind. They definitely do care. It's just how effective has it been is the main thing. Right, this next one is regarding an update or overhaul, it seems, to dual front in year 11. Now, I want to jump on this one as well and say when we were able to interview Alex and some of the other devs recently, and I was able to join a call for that, this was also mentioned that dual front is going to be getting a major update in year 11 season 1. But what is said here is dual front. This mode serves as an experiment, offering players new ways to engage with Siege while maintaining its core elements. The feedback received here will be considered for future events or game modes. Dual front itself is planned to be overhauled in year 11, but no further details Krapazis could share at the moment. So yeah, I did sort of mention this in that video when I done the interview, so there's not much new to learn here. Dual front is a bit of a tricky situation because I think the mode is really good. Many of us think the mode is really good. I get a lot of people every day saying, hey, I've actually started to try dual front and it's pretty fun. And there was clearly a lot of effort put into it. I don't think it's bad, but as well as this, if it doesn't hit with a large amount of the player base, then there's not really much point supporting it. But I don't think we're at that stage yet. I still think dual front is in its infancy. And listen, Core Siege didn't take off in its first 2 years either when the game came out. So I think it'd be a bit of a shame just to call it quits with dual front before it's even had a chance to properly shine or get the ball rolling. Same with like X Defiant. I know dual front's a mode and not a standalone game, but I think we've seen with games for a while now that a lot of games haven't been given the chance to find their footing and they're just being axed immediately. So I understand the commitment to dual front, and I think whatever they have planned for year 11 season 1 with it should be quite interesting, and I'm interested to see what they do here. I just think as long as it doesn't take away resources from Core Siege, that's the major thing. And I've said this in another video as well, both dual front and Core Siege should be able to exist without affecting one another. Siege is one of the biggest games in the world, and if we cannot have two primary game modes without affecting the other, then there's an issue there from a structural standpoint, and not with the issue of, dual front existing itself. I actually think a lot more people would have been more open to dual front if it wasn't clearly a tie between that and Core Siege. So I definitely just think as a, company, if Ubisoft can just have its own standalone Dillfront team, which has no effect on the map team for Core Siege, for example, or X, Y, and Z, then they should do that. Both of these modes should be able to coexist. So I am interested to see what they're doing. I'm also thinking of doing like a Dillfront tournament where it's like full sweat, full comms, will have prizes for the winners and stuff like that. This is something I'm going to try and get organized to show the true potential of the mode, because I feel like it's been quite hard for a lot of people to see that. So that is something you'd like to be involved with. Drop it in the comments and I'm going to try and get the ball rolling. Maybe even join the Discord as well. But yeah, that's something I'm in the early planning stages of doing. Next up, we have a section about esports, saying esports is a vital part of Siege, providing valuable insights and fresh ideas for the developers whilst giving players the opportunity to learn from pros. Every live competitive event helps forming community gatherings and offering direct interactions with the Siege devs. In the near future, esports will be more integrated into the game. An event like the Siege Cup will help players to get used to the competitive scene, and the team is preparing more opportunities for everyone to participate in esports soon. So the way I interpret that is you're just going to have more sort of tournament esports modes, like how we have Siege Cup is a competitive mode. It's still not Pro League, whereas if you are going to have like Pro League qualifiers and stuff like that and actual pro stuff, maybe that is going to be integrated into the game itself, where you can sign up and join actual pro tournaments for like a T3 or like a qualifier series to actually get the ball rolling as well, rather than it being all, sorted offline through like Blast and stuff like that. It'd be integrated into the game through Blast, if that makes sense. At least that's how I interpret that part. Next up, we have a point regarding operators, and it says, the goal to reach 100 operators still remains, though the team is spending more time to create new ops as the gameplay gets more complicated every season. This is to guarantee players will receive the best experience, though they always discover something unexpected. The operator creation process can start with either gameplay mechanics to counter the then current meta, like Azami and Denari, or intended backstory, like deimos. So I guess that is our only first ever official answer as to why there are less new operators per year in the game, and that is the fact that they want to spend more time on them. I guess they've said that part before, but the fact that gameplay gets more complicated every season. And I guess to an extent I can understand that point, and I don't think that's entirely untrue. I also think a lot of it comes down to just resource management as well. I don't think it's laziness. Remember, this is a company. You get fired if you don't do your work. I don't think Ubisoft are going to give people freebies. But yeah, I think it's definitely a mix of resource management, and of course, I do understand the fact that it's not like you're adding to an operator pool of 20 anymore. You're adding to like an operator pool of 80, which means more interactions, which means more synergies, which means more X, Y, and Z. So yeah, every single operator you add, the next one is always going to be harder to implement. So I do understand that part. And I like the fact as well, saying like ops can start with like either meta. So like an operator would be implemented to counter a current meta. So for example, shields are quite a big thing right now. And we already got the teaser when I done my interview with other content creators as well, that we got teased that there may be a new way to counter shields in year 11. So, sort of like dealing with the meta with new ops. I mean, it could be a secondary gadget. They didn't go too into specifics with that. And of course, they also mentioned if it's like a backstory related character like deimos. Pretty interesting. I'd love to see more of the operator creation process because it seems like a really interesting part. We have a part here regarding remasters and the operator remasters, especially since we're going into year 10 season 4 with a new one. And it says, to keep the old operators relevant, developers remastered them to ensure that all ops are equally loved by the players, though they're not so popular. And by the not so popular part, I think they mean like Blackbeard wasn't a popular op before he got a remaster, so to give him the love that he should get from players. Despite the changes, the character's essential mechanics remain, such as Blackbeard with a shield. Here, Alexander said, if players miss the old playstyle, such as Blackbeard's TARS, which is his rifle shields, or Jager's first ACOG, they might see those stuff again in the upcoming in-game event to celebrate 10 years of Rainbow Six Siege. So, if you're not aware, Year 10 Season 4 is bringing us a Year 10 event, or a 10th anniversary event, I should say. And it does seem like this is going to be a trip through the history of Siege, as we now have teasers that not only will you seemingly play with Blackbeard's old rifle shield again, you're also going to use Jager ACOG. Now, I will mention, this has been translated to English from the original reports and statements, so some of the stuff could have been lost in translation, but it definitely does seem that Jager ACOG and Blackbeard's rifle shields will be a part of this year 10 event, which is very exciting. I wonder if we're going to see old versions of gadgets as well, and maybe even old maps. I don't know. I'm actually really excited about this 10th anniversary event reading this. We have a section regarding realism, and it says, Siege devs always try to balance the realism in the game. For devices, some may look more advanced than others, but having them along with simple tools happened in the original Rainbow Six book also. Likewise, in response to players' demand for more customization, they need to find a common ground of realistic and fancy skin designs. Many people want something more surreal, while the rest dislike it. The team works hard to satisfy these opposing preferences. So, that one's a bit of a nothing burger statement. I mean, it is very just like, hey, we know half the community like these skins, we know half the community like the other skins, we're just trying to make both. And it's like, I get it, you know what I mean? Like, there's not really much to say on this argument. I get it, you know what I mean? I'm not going to necessarily blame them for that, because if people are spending thousands on a fantasy skin and others are spending thousands on a realistic skin, you know, that, I mean, I guess you're doing something right, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to neglect half of the other people, and then same on the flip side. If both sides are getting those skins and both sides are happy, although they may say, I don't like the other side, if they're both doing it at the end of the day, I guess it just works out. So, I don't know. We have one regarding lore. Hey, that's my alleyway. And it says, the Siege team felt very happy to see how the R6 community enjoyed its story and lore. In addition to seasonal animations, they're exploring more ways to include the narrative to gameplay, like how Assault and Hereford allowed players to be Rainbow Ops battling with Kerry's recruits. Now, I think all of us do agree that Assault and Hereford was one of the best things that ever came to this game. It was unique, there was clearly effort put into it, it had an interesting story, it was a big part of the narrative itself, and it was simply fun. I think we can all agree that it was a great event. So the fact that they're happy with the feedback that got and the current lore, I'm interested to see if they do anything like that in the future. We've been getting a lot of, I guess, reused events, but it does seem like the efforts because of that have been going to other stuff. Like, we got a lot of reused events in year 9, but that was so they could give us Assault and Hereford base, because clearly that required a lot of resources, which in retrospect is fine. And it seems like that's been the case with year 10 as well. We've been getting a lot of reused events because in season 4, we're going to be getting this 10th anniversary event, which does seem like, again, it's going to have some effort and resources put into it as well. And I guess I should mention, Doctor's Curse did get a new map, so fair is fair, and I will say there was effort and quality put into that as well. So if we can get more lore-based events like Assault on Hereford and more ways to explore the lore, I think that's definitely a great thing. This next one is regarding Thailand and Aruni. Remember, this was at the Thai Games Festival, and Aruni is from Thailand. And the following says, Kerpazis express gratitude to the Thai player base, both casual and pro alike. They're an important part of the R6 community, with dedication and energy they bring to the game, especially to the APAC esports scene. Since the Thai R6 community is relatively big, there is no surprise that a Thai operator was added to the game. Developers believed players would enjoy relatability, thus Aruni was created with a narrative that resonates with Thai players. The team travels the world for inspiration. They would like to go to new places and find more stories to tell. But of course, Kerpazi suggested Thailand might be revisited in the future. So that little bit at the end there is quite interesting, that Thailand may be revisited in Rainbow Six Siege. We already have a Thai operator. We, of course, could get another Thai operator. But I also think a map set in Thailand would be really cool. It could introduce quite a unique theming for a map we've never seen before. And I definitely think that would just be a very fun aspect. I think every country should get representation in this game. I'd actually love to see like a Maltese operator. That's one I'm really excited for to potentially get. But yeah, pretty cool that Thailand may return in Rainbow Six Siege. And then the final section here is titled The Next 10 Years, and it says, with Rainbow Six Siege X, the team hopes to lay a new groundwork for the game, utilizing the current technology and dauntlessly introduce more innovative ways to improve gameplay through operators and other changes for many years to come. The R6 community is the main reason that helps Siege be relevant and stay strong to this day. Kerpazis and his team wouldn't ignore their feedback and hope the game would stay for another 10 years, as it will keep adjusting for new trends or even new platforms. And so that was a little bit of a summary of Alexander Kapazi's interviews from the Thailand Game Show 2025. Once again, thank you to Kay for, you know, reporting all of this and translating a lot of this for us and summarizing it. Some new information, of course, like the return of Jager's ACOG and maybe Blackbeard's rifle shield in the year 10 anniversary event. Some stuff we've already reported on, such as Dual Front getting a bit of a big change in year 11. But overall, still really interesting to hear a lot of these takes and a lot of the different aspects and stuff like that. And yeah, hopefully we get to see some of the stuff within the next year and beyond, but I thought that was a pretty good interview. Some of the answers were a bit of your nothing burger sort of PR trained ones, but you're going to have to expect that. But I thought there was actually some quite good insights in there and definitely a lot of information being shared. Which is useful. So be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this. What do you think about everything that we just went over? And yeah, what's your thoughts on Siege in general right now? Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. Catch you all in the next video. I love you all. Stay safe. Have a good one.